Hi all, this is Emma from Plan, Inspire, Create, and today I'm going to be sharing with you how I set goals and what my goals are for the next quarter. So I've been releasing a video every other day throughout December, and my last few videos have been focused on me filling in my Just 90 planner to create a vision for my life of how I want it to be, and then how I'm going to set goals and how I'm going to achieve them to move myself closer towards that vision in the next 90 days. So in the very last video, I created my vision for my life in 8 different areas, and now in this video, I'm going to start to break that down into goals that I can achieve within the next 90 days. So let me jump over to the planner and I'll show you what we're going to do. So my vision is here, and I might come back and take that out so I can see it while I'm doing the next bit, but let's flick ahead. So the next section is the goals section, and you open it up and it says let's choose goals. So you have a new vision for how you want your life to look and feel, but how do you get there? Figure 1 on the next page shows the process you will follow to set goals that will help you make significant progress towards your vision in just 90 days. But let's break down what the terms mean. So here is the figure that we're talking about, and I'm going to pop it up on the screen while I'm talking it through. So it says, at the top is your vision. This is the big picture plan for how you'd like your life to be in the future. So that's what I set in the last video. I'm feeling really good about it. Then you'll set 2 to 3 goals at a time. They're more specific and help you move closer to your vision. Think of them as the point you want to reach at the end of your 90 days. So you don't have to set loads and loads and loads of goals at a time. This is what I used to do, and then I used to get nowhere with them because there were just too many. It was too overwhelming. There was no structure as to how I'd complete them. So you pick 2 or 3 goals, and they reflect the endpoint you want to get to at the end of the 90 days. So then each goal will be broken down into 2 to 3 projects that you will undertake to contribute to the completion of your goals. So we're getting more specific with the projects, and then those projects will be broken down into actions and habits. So actions are the individual tasks you need to carry out in order to complete your project, and habits are things you complete regularly, and then over time they become part of your usual routine. So there's a couple of examples here over the page. So the first one is, let's say one of the vision statements is, I'll have a better relationship with my body. And I decide this quarter I want to dedicate one of my 90-day goals to working towards that vision. So it's important to remember that your goals don't have to get you all the way there. It just needs to get you closer. So a goal I might set is, I will establish and maintain a new routine of movement and healthier habits. Then you'll identify 2 to 3 projects to focus on that will help you achieve that goal. So for this example, projects might include establishing an exercise routine to exercise 3 times a week and trying new healthier dinner recipes 3 times a week. And those projects will now be broken down further into actions and habits until you're finally at the level of what you will actually implement in your day-to-day life, so you know exactly what you're going to be doing. So for the first project, which was establishing the exercise routine, actions might be research local fitness classes, decide which classes I will attend, sign up to classes and add classes to my calendar. And a habit might be attend an exercise class every Monday, Wednesday and Saturday. So all the planning is done up front so that when it's time to act, you can just move through that list as quickly as possible. You don't have to switch back to thinking and planning. You can just carry out the actions. And then there is another example in here, which is a more business related example, just to give you different types, which I won't go through now. And then just a quote here that says, if you can imagine it, you can achieve it. So then there's some guidance on choosing what to focus on. And this is talking about how people often want to achieve a better balance in life, but a common mistake is thinking that this means dedicating equal time to each of the areas within it. But it's not necessary to do this to achieve the kind of life you want. So we all go through different times in our lives where we experience different challenges and opportunities, and depending on what's going on at that time, you'll want to prioritise certain areas over others. And all you need to do is make sure that you're making an intentional choice, which I think this planner really helps you to do. If you're being pulled in one direction when you really want to focus on another, then life won't feel balanced. But if you're making an intentional choice to focus on a particular area, then it will get you closer to living the life that you described in your vision. So you don't need to do it all now. You can't do it all now. So think about what areas you want to focus on the most at this time in your life. And then the instructions here say take a look back at your vision and think about which areas you'd like to focus on first. Jot down ideas for some potential goals below. So, let's pull out my vision. There we go. I'll flip back forward. So we're here in the planner. And I'm going to set my vision here. And I'm going to have a little think about which areas I want to prioritise at the moment. And then I will come back and show you what I've written.
Wait, tell me what
to do. Okay, so if you remember way back in the life satisfaction check-in that I did earlier on, we can find it here, then I put these little stars by areas that I thought I might want to prioritise first, and they were home and family, professional and financial. So that was what I focused my brainstorming on first. And then I did add in a third area. So the first area I've written is home, and ideas for some potential goals. I've kind of written phrases that I think kind of encapsulate what I am trying to achieve, and then I can kind of flesh out the wording later. So move house, that's a huge one for me. Creating space for me and being in an environment that meets my needs. So something that ties those things together or part of those things. Then I have physical and building strength, which is a kind of maybe for me at the moment, but we'll come back to that. And then under the area of professional and finance, I was thinking about a monetary goal of some sort, something about working smarter and restructuring how I work, and also rebranding Plan, Inspire, Create. So those are some initial thoughts I've had. Some of these probably spill over more into projects that I would do under the goals, but these are the types of things that I'm trying to achieve in each of the sections. So if we flick over to the next page, there's some information here on what makes a good goal. The planner says, before you commit pen to paper with your goals, I want to share 3 criteria that make a good goal, which means a goal you're more likely to achieve, which is what we want. So the first one is make them realistic. Can you achieve them in just 90 days? And do you have the resources available? If not, you're likely setting yourself up to fail, which we don't want. But with this said, don't make it too easy either. You want to challenge yourself and push yourself a little beyond your comfort zone. Then make sure they are specific and measurable. If they're not, it'll be difficult to know if you've actually achieved them. So for each goal, when we come to set those, it asks you to think about how you'll know it's been achieved, so you have something to measure back against. And then the third one is write them positively. So sometimes it's natural to phrase things like stop this or do less of that, but that can be quite self-critical, and if you do slip up, it's easy to be hard on yourself and feel defeated. Whereas a positive goal is inspiring, as it's more related to the end result that you're hoping to achieve, which means you're more likely to be motivated to achieve it. And then this page says consider the costs. So before you move forward, you need to consider the costs. There's a cost to everything we decide to complete, and this can vary and include things such as time, money, loss of comfort, risk, and impact on our health and well-being. So in order to achieve a particular goal, sacrifices will need to be made in other areas, and that's often the reason we don't achieve our goals. So, for example, you might want to gain that promotion at work, but you don't want to stay at work for longer and sacrifice time with family. Or you might want to give up cake and biscuits, but you don't want to give up the delicious taste and the comfort you get from that. So for each potential goal, you want to consider the sacrifices you may have to make. Are you willing to make them, and is it worth it for you? So before I started Plan, Inspire, Create, I gave up a career as a social worker, and I made the conscious decision that continuing to pursue that goal was not worth the impact it was having on my health. I think sometimes people mistake that for weakness, that you're giving up, but it actually takes a strong person to make those kind of decisions, to say, I'm not willing to do this at the sacrifice of something else. So the planner recommends taking some time now to think about your potential goals and the sacrifices you may need to make. Once you feel happy with them, turn the page and we'll start writing goals. So, an obvious one here is time in all of these areas. Devoting extra time to achieving goals that we weren't working on before is always going to take time. But these are things that are hugely important to me, that I really feel are a priority at this time. I specifically focused on writing down things that were a priority for me now. If you've got a longer list, you might want to cross some of those out and think it's not worth sacrificing my time at this current moment. The other thing is, obviously, the more things you take on, the more sacrifice you're going to have to make. And that's why I may stick to 2 goals, not 3, because I know that some of these are going to involve quite big projects and there is only so much time in a day. Another thing is pushing myself outside of my comfort zone. So whether that's moving house and living independently, there's a potential impact there on my mental health, on my physical health, through having to do more, not having that support day on day. For me, that is worth it for the gains that I'll get through achieving a greater level of independence. And again, with my business, I could stay where I am now and that feels more comfortable to me, but I want to push myself out of my comfort zone and have that level of risk because I want the chance to grow and to do more with the business. So these are the types of things that I'm going to remember when things get hard. If you remember why you're doing it in the first place, it makes the sacrifices much easier to deal with at the time. Okay, now to the fun bit. We are going to set some goals. So there are now 3 double-page spreads. Obviously, your third goal is optional for you to write out some goals. And the questions are, what is your goal for this 90 days? How will you know you've completed it? How will the goal help you move closer to your vision? What could happen if you don't achieve this goal? Which areas of your life could it impact on? The space to brainstorm some project ideas that could help you achieve the goal. And then thinking about which would have the biggest impact, choose 2 or 3 projects to focus on. So it's very thorough. You'll know exactly why you're doing it, what it means to you, how you know you've completed it, and you're really forming that emotional connection with the goal. So I'm now going to give this some thought. I'm going to go ahead and fill in these pages. And again, I'll come back and show you what I've written. decided on 2 goals and I'll talk you through them now. I have to say I wasn't as confident writing the goals as the vision, and I think that's because you're having to make that intentional choice to focus on particular areas. But I am happy with what I've chosen, and I know that because I've thought about in each one how it will move me closer to my vision, and they really are the priority areas. So the first goal I have set for the 90 days is I will have my own home that reflects me and my needs. How will I know I've completed it? I will have moved and be living on my own, and it will feel like home to me. How will this goal help me move closer to my vision? I've said I will feel more independent and will have my own space that reflects me and the things I enjoy. What could happen if I don't achieve this goal? It could have a negative impact on my mental health. I won't have access to my things as they are in storage, and I will have limited space for work. Because it is limited at the minute, kind of living and working in the one room, and yeah, that impacts on my mental health, not having that separation, and also it takes me longer to do things than if I had more space. I could get a bit of a production line going with things and so on. So which areas of my life could this impact on? I've said, obviously, home and family, professional and financial because of those reasons about having more space to work, having a space to work that's like designed with that purpose in mind. Could impact on my emotional well-being, how I feel about myself, social and community, because I will have more freedom for socialising. Not that I'm not allowed to socialise here, but yeah, I just think it will make things a little bit easier. And then passion, because I will have my things, I will be able to create, I will have the space to do the things that I enjoy and have all my nice things to choose from. So the following projects could help me achieve this goal in just 90 days. I've said moving house, obviously, redecorating, feeling safe at home, getting to know the local area, and creating sensory spaces. And then I thought about what would have the most impact, and I have set 2 projects. The first one, moving house, obviously has to happen for this goal and is a huge project. And the second one, I've put transforming the space to reflect me. And that basically encapsulates a few things. The kind of unpacking and designing of the rooms, redecorating, getting to know the space and kind of what I do where, and maybe shifting things around to reflect that, and all those little things that help it feel like home. So that's what I mean by that. And then my second goal I've chosen, and I'm going to keep it just at 2 this time, is a business goal, and I've written I will generate £600 in profit. Profit. So I've been bringing in more to Plan, Inspire, Create, but I've been investing all of it back in, and I need to start to be able to structure things in a way where I can think about taking some money out of the business to actually pay myself with, considering how much I work on it. So how will I know I've completed it? It will be evidenced in my business accounts. How will this goal help me move closer to my vision? It will help me move towards my goal of financial independence. I mean, technically I shouldn't put goal there because it's vision, but you know what I mean. What could happen if I don't achieve this goal? Things will be uncertain financially and affect how I live. It will be stressful and have an emotional impact. Which areas of my life could this impact on? So home and family, obviously money to pay the bills, feeling financially secure, very important. And again, that impacts on my emotional well-being because it will reduce stress. Professional and financial, because it's helping to grow the business, helping to work towards financial independence. Spirituality and values, because I had in my vision about trying to be braver and stronger and reach for my dreams and inspire others to do the same. And committing to a financial goal and going for it takes a lot for me to do. I feel very nervous about it, unsure, kind of awkward talking about it, putting it out there, and worried about not achieving it and how that will look, etc. So will impact on the kind of values area and passion, because being able to throw myself into work means creating more, doing the things that I enjoy, so that will impact on passion. So the following projects could help me achieve this goal in just 90 days. I started by putting new project range, but I ended up bracketing that off because I felt like that's more of a part of my day-to-day work. It's part of my kind of monthly tasks that I carry out routinely as part of my job, and so it's not really an extra goal or like an extra project, so I bracketed that off. Rebranding, plan, inspire, create, restructuring how I work, creating my own shop on my website rather than just solely selling through Etsy, and participating in a group sale. Now, I have decided that projects that will have the biggest impact and that I think I can achieve in this time, bear in mind that during this 90-day period, I will be having surgery in the final month, so I also need to take that into account. I have decided on 2 projects, which is rebranding and restructuring how I work, and I'll explain why these will help me reach my goal of generating £600 in profit, because I don't feel like it's automatically obvious, and I toyed a bit with this. So the rebranding project, I had in my vision to have a kind of recognizable brand of Plan, Inspire, Create that people recognize as mine, and all the different areas of content kind of tie in together. And the reason I think that will help me with this goal is that I believe that if people are interested in Plan, Inspire, Create, and they recognize other things that are associated with that brand, they are more likely to pay attention to it, and therefore it's more likely to bring additional profit into the business, particularly across different income streams. So I have my YouTube, my Patreon, and my Etsy shop as like my 3 main income streams, and perhaps people only know of one. Perhaps they don't realize that I do all these different things, and kind of tying the package together and having it as a kind of clearly defined, recognizable brand might help people notice my other content more and engage with that, or my other products, for example. So that's my thoughts around that. And then restructuring how I work. I feel there are ways that I can plan ahead and work smarter to be able to reduce the amount of time it takes me to carry out my kind of day-to-day tasks for my business. And I believe that that will not only free up time for me to be able to spend on other areas of my life, but free up time for me to be able to produce other products, for example, to be able to bring new product ranges to the shop, to be able to focus on increasing my product range. So that is the thought behind that project. Now, whether these things will do enough in the 90 days to generate the £600 in profit, we will see, because I believe these are both things that will have a long-term impact. But I'm hoping that we will start to see some of that within this 90 days, and that it will contribute to the goal. So those are my 2 goals. I hope that makes sense, and you can kind of see how I've come to those decisions, my thinking behind it, why I've prioritized certain things. And I hope that it helps you in setting your goals. So if you feel comfortable, let me know in the comments below a goal, or however many goals you have chosen for yourself. I would love to know what you are working towards. I'd be really, really excited to know. Obviously, I will not be doing optional goal 3, and I will be back in 2 days' time to start breaking down my projects and completing the projects section of the planner, which has some additional exercises and information as well as the project planning itself. So if you like this video, please like it and consider subscribing so that you don't miss out on any of the other content. And I will see you in 2 days' time for my next video. Bye!